This is one of our super internal spreader supported carbon fiber and titanium outriggers. It has Dyneema support line here, running about 30 pounds of standoff tension measured when pulled away from the standoff with a drag scale right here. And what happens with this Dyneema and this really rigid hollow structure here is you have a resonance effect, resonating acoustically from vortex shedding from this Dyneema, the same way Spectra fishing line will do in a fishing rod when you have a high wind coming through. It goes into this hollow tube, turns it into a musical instrument basically. So you'll get some sound coming out of this thing at about 15 to 20 knots of wind. So the way we can mitigate that is we'll go down to our tensioner system. There's a titanium turnbuckle here. We're backing off a jam nut. What we'll do is we will mark our position on that particular support line. What marking that will do was tell us where that was so that we don't have to come back here and retune with a scale and start from scratch. We're gonna take this all the way loose. You wanna hold this turnbuckle yoke steady, and you want to turn the turnbuckle barrel like so. And it's going to start loosening the barrel so that we release our tension on the support line. We've got a bit to go, probably an inch or so of threads to back off there. Now that we're tensioned off, we pull the standoff tip out, and this is just a carbon fiber standoff, titanium here that we pulled out. So we're slack down here. You can go the rest of the way by hand. But again, we want to not twist this unless we mean to. You can tell by me using that phraseology that we're going to mean to in a minute. The way we deal with this vortex shedding with wind passing over these lines and causing vibration, which turns into sound when it hits this, is we're going to twist this line. We're going to intentionally twist it so that we break up how the wind is sheeting off this and vibrating it. Same thing is going on with factories that have spirals on their chimneys. So he's twisted it, and since we have this loose, the twist is going to carry up through the top end of the rigger to the termination here on the top side. He's got maybe 10, 15 twists in it, doesn't really matter. What those twists will do, by the way, is they're gonna take a little bit of length out of it. You know, maybe a thread or two difference between where he's got it marked and tape, but that tape is gonna get him back into generally the right neighborhood. So we've got the thread started, and this is the same thing you wanna do when you initially install. Once the threads are just started, pull out, insert that tip. Now you've got tension you're dealing with already just by doing that. And that's when you're going to want to get on here with your wrench. You go back to that tape mark. You're going to be very close to where you began. So he's probably at 15, 16 pounds right now, but by the time he takes up that last half inch or so, he's going to be back at 30 or more pounds here. This is just a single spreader, 23-foot outrigger, so we want to run around 30 pounds of tension on it. Most people, if you're coming from a traditional aluminum spreader world, most people think, you know, around 18 to 20 pounds is adequate on a 22 foot or 20 foot single spreader rigger. On this thing, we like to run 30, just so we have less deflection when you're pulling heavier stuff, you know, so you basically able to carry a heavier load when you go with a higher tension. So he's back to the tape. Take the tape off, and we'll jam back against that adjuster. Which is going to require two sizes of wrenches. We've got a 13 millimeter, and what's that other one?
9/16.
A 9/16. So we got a 13 and a 9/16 here going on to jam back together. And that just put a little bit of spiral in here. You can feel it as you run your hand down it. It's just like a chimney would do. You've got a tall chimney stuck up into the wind. It breaks up how the wind is sheeting off of it. Breaks those vortices up so that you don't have the same kind of vibration and humming coming down here into this hollow structure. Hope this is helpful. Thanks, everybody.